Hello, I'm core mining in Odyssey. The real question is this a core? Well, we'll see. I had the opportunity to actually mine in the game, and so I thought I'd make a Grappler Man video for this. I wanted to show you a couple of these things that were not cores, that look like cores. As you can see, after I shoot the prospector in there, that was not a core, although it looked pretty bright. So I'm going to go ahead and look around a little bit more, and you'll notice that there's a pretty bright rock right there. So let's go and see if this one is. Do you think it is? Is it? Well, let's shoot a prospector in there and see what we find. Here it comes, and it is not. Another dud, but again, it looked very like it could be. So let's go ahead and at least take the tritium out of here, because I needed it for the carrier I was on. So I at least will do a little surface abrasion and a little bit of mining with the lasers just to take out some of that tritium. Anyway, moving on. So now, since that rock didn't pan out, let's look at the technique that I usually use. If I can, I try to get as much out of every rock as possible. So obviously the first thing we do is the pulse wave scanner. I think I found a rock here that might be possibly a core. So let's get in closer to it. Let's look at it again, and let's see if you think, is it a core or is it not? Let's see. Well, let's hit it with a prospector and see what we get. In this case, I'm going to put a prospector in there, and in this case, it is definitely a core of alexandrite. So that's a useful material. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, when I find a rock like this, the first thing I want to do, though, is scan it and see if there's anything else in it. So when I did that, I noticed that there was some tritium on the surface. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the abrasion blasters and knock off all the things I can find that are on the surface, because if I'm going to crack the core, I want to get everything out of it I can first. Alright, so if I look at the panel, you'll notice it has a couple more of these, so I'm just going to do them. I'm not going to show them all to you, but I went around and knocked off all the tritium surface deposits that I could. Once the surface deposits were finished, then I looked for the subsurface deposits, and that's one of my most enjoyable kinds of mining that I like to do. I like the subsurface. For example, there was a time when it was very, very profitable before they nerfed it. But anyway, I like doing this, and this is, for those of you that haven't done it before, you shoot the subsurface displacement missile in there and hold the trigger down, and on the lower left-hand corner you'll see a little grid that shows up, and you want to try to catch it on the ones that are 2s and 1s, the blue columns. That gives you the most yield. Of course, you can do the 3s, and if you've never done it before, you might want to stick with that. It's not a constant speed, it's jerky. You kind of have to time it, but every time you hit it, these big chunks come up, and you can get quite a bit of material from this. So like I said, I really enjoy the subsurface mining, and so I did the subsurface mining on this, and I went through and took out all the tritium that I could from this rock before I decided to break it. I mean, if you're going to mine, you might as well mine for everything. I know a lot of people like very specific ships and just have a laser miner or a core miner. Most of the time, if I mine, my ship can do all three, because you just don't know what you're going to find while you're out there. Okay, so it looks like all those are gone. So the next thing I'm going to do, since it had a high percentage of tritium, is I'm going to go ahead and laser mine a little bit. I like to do that too, just because that way I can grab any little bit that's left. So I did that for a little while and pulled off all the tritium. Now, once the tritium is gone, now I'll do the core mining. And those of you that have done core mining before know the process. Basically, you find the fissure, you look at the strength, high, medium, or low, and you pull the trigger and hold it down until you get the appropriate amount of effort or energy that you want in the missile, and then you let it go. I think I took, let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of these fissures to get this one to crack. It's no different in Odyssey than it is in Horizons. And I'm using an ASP Explorer because I'm new in the game. It's not as great as some of the other ships that are later on that might be a little bit more maneuverable, but it's a really, really good early game mining ship, because you can equip all of the mining material that you need and still have a decent cargo space. Now, I kept getting warnings the whole time I was doing this about my cargo space being full, and I had to keep dropping limpets and stuff. And you know, that happens in the early game because, you know, the bigger ships means a lot more money. You pay for the ship, but you get a lot more money in the long run. But as a early game player, the Asp Explorer is a really good little mining ship. So I'm about to crack this rock open and hit that last one. I'm in the core. Now you want to, at this point, move back at least 800 to 1,000 meters away. Now in Horizons, I used to skip that, but I've been warned that maybe in this game it's a little bit rougher on the ship. I may try it one day when I don't have a lot at stake, but in this case, you back up, get the explosion. Obviously the graphics are a little different, and they look really good, but it looks good in Horizons as well. Once the core is cracked, you move in and you're going to use the abrasion blaster. And again, I'm not going to show you all of this, but for those of you that have never done it before, basically you line it up. I missed that one. Line it up, pull the trigger, knock it off, and send your collectors out. Now you'll notice I have my abrasion blaster on the same trigger as my collectors. That prevents me from having to pull 2 triggers and concentrate all the time. If the collector limpet runs out, it automatically fires another one if needed. And basically that's the technique that I use when I go mining. I always try to do all 3 forms if I can, and I look for the rocks that have all 3 types of mining in it. So let's see what I got. Looks like I got about 12. I think I ended up with 12 alexandrite out of the core and about 29 tritium from all the other forms of mining. So that's not too bad from one rock. 29 tritium, 12 alexandrite. Well, that's it for me today, and I will see you down the road, and hopefully you'll subscribe if you like the video, and I'll see you next time. Grappler Man out.